Wow, this lighting is really terrible. I am filming this really, really quickly because Matt has stepped out of the house for 5 minutes. Yeah, winter has hit Brisbane. I'm not kidding. It's 13 degrees today. That is ridiculous. This is Queensland. So I'm freezing. I have thermals on right now and many, many layers, and I'm still cold. I mean, originally I did want to live in Melbourne, so God knows if I would ever have been able to cope with that. Anyway, today I want to talk to you about a little sample I got. I don't know where, I don't know when, I don't know how. It's called Melancolia, and it's by Les Liquides Imaginaires. I will put a picture of it on the screen somewhere for you. It comes in a pretty specky blue bottle, which I think looks fantastic. So this fragrance sounded really intriguing when I got it. I think I got it as a free sample when I made another purchase of something else. And I do like Les Liquides Imaginaires as a house. So I guess I thought this would be pretty cool. So I tried this the other day, and I don't know, I guess I would have thought that a fragrance called Melancolia would have been a really dark, brooding, moody, dense, maybe a little bit gothic kind of fragrance with maybe some overripe fruit and some leather or some big earthy tuberose or patchouli or something. But no, actually it's a pretty light-hearted kind of fragrance. So when I first spray this, I get a blast of sort of zesty, citrusy freshness, and I would say it almost borders on air freshener territory. It's so zesty. It also has, I just got some of it on my nose. It also has kind of like a gin or vodka vibe to it. So it kind of feels a little bit alcoholic. And I don't know if that's just because there is a bit of alcohol in the opening on this, you know, you've got to let it dry down for a little while, or whether it's actually meant to have kind of like an alcohol. It does kind of smell a little bit ginny to me, or maybe juniper berry-ish. It's very aromatic. It's got a lot of mint in it. And that really sort of comes through once that alcohol blast in the opening kind of dies down a little bit. It also has a bit of a spiciness to it, a bit of heat. And I think it comes from, I think there's ginger in here because it smells very freshly cut ginger-ish to me, which I really enjoy. Oh my God, hang on. No, puppy. The puppy is in that phase where she's just chewing everything. She must be teething, and she was just chewing a cable. She really loves cables, as it turns out, and now she's chewing the chair. Where was I? Yes, ginger. So I really get the ginger in here. It really smells like freshly cut, really zingy, kind of hot ginger. And then you couple that with the mint. There is a heap of mint in this fragrance. It's really aromatic, and it becomes kind of fizzy in the mid a little bit because I think of that ginger and the aromatics and the zesty citrus. You know, it feels like a summer cocktail. Like a mojito or something, and it just has an effervescence around it without having aldehydes. It's not aldehydic effervescence, it's zingy, fruity, herbal effervescence. This also has another note in it which I really enjoy, and I've been stumbling across a lot of fragrances lately that seem to have this note in it, and that is yuzu. So I think yuzu, I know it's a citrus, but I think it's related to grapefruit, which is probably why I like it so much, because I really love a grapefruit note in fragrances. And I feel like this note kind of elongates the staying power of those citrus notes in the opening. So usually for me at least, those zesty citrus notes that you get in an opening of a really zesty, bright fragrance tend to die off really, really quickly and the mid comes through. Well, I think the yuzu helps to elongate or to maintain that citrus feel even through the mid. There is also a rice powder note in here. And I have to say, I know a lot of people are entertained by rice notes in fragrances, and it's not to say that I don't like them, but for the most part, I don't think that they really excite me all that much, to be honest. So the rice powder note actually gives it like almost a milky, slightly sweet, kind of like a white veil feel in the mid, behind all of that citrus and mint and aromatic notes. But there is a tea note in here as well, which I think helps to tone down this fragrance from being too sweet or from going into that fruity, sweet territory. And then that's pretty much how it stays for me. I really noticed that yuzu coming out quite prominently in the dry down, even beyond the mid of the fragrance. And then after it's been on my skin for a couple of hours, it really kind of transforms into an aromatic sort of tea fragrance, which is actually quite nice. I think that the projection of this fragrance is actually fairly decent for what it is. I mean, I've just been using this little sample, and when I spray it on my skin, I can definitely smell it on my skin for quite a while afterwards, and I can smell it in the whole room, which in and of itself is a little bit unusual for citrus fragrances, I guess, because for me, citrus dies down really quickly, and I don't find that they're all that noticeable to other people. It does, however, become much more closer to the skin in the dry down, and I wouldn't say that it projects much beyond maybe the first hour or hour and a half. I think overall, I would enjoy this fragrance as a clean, zesty, aromatic, summery tea fragrance. However, this goes for about $300 in Australia, and I just don't think I would pay that much for a fragrance that doesn't really have a massive performance. Even though I quite like it, it's very pleasant, but I think there's lots of other fragrances on the market that are similar or that satisfy that same feeling that I want to get from this, that I might want to get from this fragrance. Things like Miller & Bertot's Postcard, or L'Eau Mixte by Parfums de Nicolai, although those fragrances don't have ginger in them, and that is quite a prominent note in this fragrance, at least in the opening and going into the mid, is that ginger note, which gives it that real heat, but also very fresh. So again, it's a beautiful fragrance. The fragrance doesn't match the name, or maybe they did that deliberately, I don't know, or maybe it's called Melancolia so that it's meant to be a fragrance that uplifts you if you are feeling melancholy. But overall, I think it's a really beautiful fragrance. But again, I don't know if I would pay $300 for it. If I could find a partial bottle that somebody wants to sell, then maybe I'll pick it up there. I think it was released in 2014, so there may be some partials floating around the place. I think that's really all I want to say about that fragrance. I'm enjoying the sample, and I might save the rest of it for summer once this cold winter weather is out of the way. Anyway, that's me. Just a quick one this week. I hope you enjoyed. I hope it maybe shed some light on a fragrance that maybe you had seen and were interested in. And yeah, look forward to speaking to you all next week. I will be joining Pep from the Sentinel on a live tomorrow morning. I don't know if this will go up before then or not. I'm hoping it will. But otherwise, I'll see you on the live, or I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.